Hey, welcome to the Chronicle YouTube channel. I'm Busta Brown, your host, and I am sitting here with Tonja Fultz with Goodwill. You have a fantastic program, Tonja, called Project Family, which is under the umbrella of Project Reentry.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's a fantastic program, but let's kind of catch people up. First of all, how are you?
How am I?
Yes.
I'm fine, thank
Good.
you.
I normally ask, how are you? You look beautiful today, by the way. But Project Reentry is a program that helps folks that has been incarcerated transition back into the world,
yes.
you know, help you find jobs and different things like that, which is a great program. My good friend Mike Thomas runs that program. And the last I heard, it was well over 80% doing well.
Yes, with more above, almost like 90%.
Yeah, probably 90 now. And man, some of the cats I met just doing some fantastic things,
Absolutely.
and young ladies. You went through the program, Tonja.
I did.
And when I said you went through the program, people are sitting there stopping, going, she was in prison? Her? Right.
It's true.
When I saw you and I walked in, I'm like, this cannot be the same person. What were you doing in prison, Tonja?
Just like most women in prison, it's bad relationships and just making poor choices that led me to incarceration. But I will say today that prison was probably the best thing that happened to me personally, because it made me a better person. And
I hear people say that.
It's true.
At what point out of the 3 years you were there where you were okay with being there, saying this is good for me?
Yeah, probably about a year and a half.
A year and a really?
Yeah, it took me a long time to get to that point of like, okay, let me look at myself. How did I end up in prison? Not my charges, but really how did I end up here? And now what am I going to do about
it? You don't have to share, but what were the charges?
I really don't share those charges.
That's cool.
But yeah.
That's cool. Cool. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I'm playing.
Jerk.
Say jerk, right? Yeah. 3 years. So that first year year and a half was tough.
Very hard.
What was on your mind when the judge said, you're going to jail or prison?
I think I was
for 3
in
years?
shock, but then I was really concerned about my kids because my kids were 8 and 10 when I was sentenced, and like what's going to happen to them, what is going to happen, you know, what's going to go on with them.
Was the jerk the dad?
No.
Okay.
Yes. No.
So he wasn't
That's
bad.
a whole other issue.
That's a whole other issue. So that could be a whole nother interview with just Tonja about her personal stuff, right? So you were thinking about your kids.
I was.
First thing that came to your mind when the cuffs went on and you were on your way. Wow.
Are they going to eat? Are they going to go to school?
That's a mother.
What's going on?
Wow.
I was very concerned, and I was like, will they forget who I am?
Right.
A lot of stuff going on.
Now, can I ask you this? Where was that thought when you were dealing with the jerk? Where that thought about your kids?
My kids were still there because I was still caring for them, going a lot. But then at the same time, no, I didn't know a lot of what he was doing. I didn't find out until after it came out and we were arrested. So maybe naive, maybe whatever, but I was not aware. And then all of a sudden it just blew up, and I'm arrested, I'm in jail, and now, oh my gosh.
I didn't know this.
Yes.
Wow.
So there was a lot going on.
That's pretty tough. And now these kids.
Yes.
Wow. When you went to prison, when you walked in there?
I was scared to death.
And that gate shut, whatever you call it. What?
I was scared.
Because that's when it's real, right?
I honestly, my first thought was I'm going to die in prison because all I saw was what was on TV.
Right.
And it was just like, oh my God, this is it for me, you know. But then I got all my stuff the first time you go in, you get your sheets and your clothes and all this, and they give me 2 flat sheets. I'm like, what do I do with 2 flat sheets? And they're like, you tie one to the bed. My roommate actually had to show me how to do it. So there was like, it's like going to a foreign country I never knew about.
Wow.
And so I really had to like sort of learn, observe what's going on, learn to stand up for myself, learn to say no. So that's what I'm saying. It really helped me as a person.
Right now, you know how to say no to
I
jerks.
do, yes. I absolutely
You can avoid the jerks now. No.
Yes, no.
No.
Yes.
Did you stay in communication with your children? Who took care of your
my
children?
children actually went to my ex-husband.
Okay.
I saw them one time in 3 years.
Right.
I did not have any communication except through letter writing.
You saw them, was that by choice or?
He brought them to see me one time.
Okay. You wanted to see them?
Oh, definitely wanted to see them.
Okay.
He did not want to bring them.
Okay.
I did see them one time. I did write letters to them every week because that was the only thing I knew.
Right.
I didn't know if he would even let them have the letters. I just wanted to know, let them know I was still thinking about them and I love them. So that was my limit at that moment.
Right. Okay.
And then when I got out and I saw them for the first time, they had every letter I wrote to them. So that's why I encourage everybody, do what you can. If that's the only thing you can do, send that letter. If you don't have an address, write, but hold those letters and give it to them when you get out.
Now, can I ask you this? As a man and a father that been through drama, unfair drama, did you praise him for that? Did you let him know thank you?
What for that?
Saving all of those letters.
For the kids?
He could have got rid of those letters, Tonja.
But there was a lot of other issues that went along with that.
For that, though.
I did not, because
that was absolutely beautiful.
Right.
And any other guy would have threw those letters away.
Right. So the one time he did bring them to see me, he wanted to get back together, and I said no. Okay. And that was it. So there was a lot of compounded issues.
But he did say those letters. So
the kids
I want to throw that out there.
The kids have that.
Yeah,
yes.
I want to think that's beautiful. Yes. So now the kids are with you?
The kids are grown. My kids are now 25 and 22.
So,
when I first got out?
Yeah, when you first got out, they were like, what, 13 and
15,
11?
yeah.
Right. So did they come with you or?
I moved to South Carolina, or North Carolina from South Carolina because I didn't have any support system there.
Okay, got you.
They did stay with him. It was very dysfunctional, very tough. Right. I did see them as much as I could. I talked to them. And I explained everything that happens. One of the things I think is very is once I was incarcerated, my children have a higher rate of going to prison because of my incarceration. So how do I stop that? And I was honest with them. Wow. So now my 25-year-old has decided to make some choices that are not the best for him, and he's ended up incarcerated. So as a mom, I want to fix it and be there, but going through that myself, I know you have to sort of figure out on your own too. I'm here to support you, but I can't enable you.
You can't enable you. So, wow, your testimony and your story says to those who are listening, I know to me, who better to put a program together, Project Family, under Project Reentry, than someone like Tonja that's been through, still somewhat going through. And you're like, I don't want anyone going through this. This so hurts.
True. It does. It hurts so
this
bad.
This hurts, and I am not going to allow anyone else to go through this. You went through Project Reentry.
Post-release, yes.
Came here to Goodwill, got a job.
Well, actually, that's an interesting story.
Okay.
When I came here to North Carolina, I had 5 years probation and 500 hours of community service.
Right.
So I had met Michael when I got out, and I was like, I can do my community service hours at Project Reentry.
Right.
So I got connected. It took me 7 months. I worked from 8 to 12 here. 1 to 10, I worked at Halfway House for Women.
Oh, wow.
But for me, going back to prison is not an option.
Right.
So during the whole 7 months, I kept saying, oh, you guys need to hire me when I'm done. And that's when Goodwill hired me to work for Project Reentry. Wow. So that's how I started here. And then the whole time, I'm like, how are we helping the families? Let's really look at that, because I think if we can help the children, our recidivism rate is going to go down because the kids are not going to go in their parents' footsteps.
Right. Wow. That's why we need women in high places. Because the first thing you thought of, you're like, what about the family?
It is.
What about the kids? And you came up with, God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Helped you come up with this fantastic program called Project Family.
Yes.
Tell us about Project Family, because that's your love.
That's my passion.
Right.
Yeah. So Project Family, I developed it. There's no one program that really works with the entire family. So we want to bring the caregiver, the parent, and the kids together, and what is the best interest of the kids? Right. Not your issues, but what for the kids. So I developed a program to really start working with the parents before they get out, and sort of let's look at issues. Let's talk to the caregiver. Let's figure out what are we going to do next. And really with that curriculum, we'll talk about communication, parenting styles, how to co-parent in a positive way. What is structure? what is it like to be a parent on the outside versus on the inside? So we wanted to help prepare them. And then also like Project Reentry, we would work with them before they came out, but also when they came out. So it's that transition from in to out.
I mean, what better, I think it's just a dynamic program because you work with parents and the children while one parent is incarcerated, saying, listen, when you get out, you have got to get along.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Because you don't want the kids deciding which parent to go to.
That's right.
You don't want others to go through what you've been through.
Right, absolutely.
And what kind of things do you talk to them about to help them co-parent better, communicate better, and get along?
Right. Well, it's really looking at the past issues.
Right.
What has really happened? Was there addiction? Was there other things
Right.
contributed to you not being in your children's lives?
Right.
And what kind of ownership, responsibility do you take? And also the caregiver, what ownership or responsibility is that? Because every relationship, there's dysfunction. But then how are the kids managing? You know, are they asking questions? How old are they? Which plays a big factor in like how much you tell them. But now it's like really look at what is our next steps. What kind of parent do you want to be on the outside?
Right. Wow, that's pretty good. What kind of what else does it offer the families?
For the caregiver too on the outside, we want to support them. So providing resources if they need assistance, helping them connect to other venues. If you need help with food, or you need help with daycare or whatever, we're going to help connect them as well before the parent gets out. And let's look at housing if you need help. Whatever need they have, we're there to assist them with that. Right.
So the main goal of the program is to help the parents help the co-parenting be successful. The kids find a balance, understanding what went down.
Right.
Because I think the kids do need to understand what happened with mom or dad, whoever was incarcerated, and have a better understanding versus what one parent may be saying.
Right.
You know, this is why your dad and your mom is in prison, and not the fair story.
Right. Absolutely.
And how important it is not to do that to children. Right. And that's what you guys do. And that's fantastic.
Just in North Carolina, there's almost 200,000 children that are affected by parental incarceration. Right. And I believe that number is low because most caregivers or children don't want to self-disclose because of the stigma or afraid that they may be taken away from their caregivers. So I think there's so many invisible victims that are the children in this community that we really need to look at and advocate for. And how can we really help them? Right.
You know, the trip is that you were saying prison is the best thing that ever happened to you. And as people who are believers in God, we'll say, you know, you got to go through in order to get through.
Right.
And I always say it's not what you go through, it's how you choose to get through it.
True.
Right? This program, going to prison, this program would have never happened if you did not go to prison.
I would not be here.
The families that are being helped because of your heart and what you've been through would not get the help if you didn't go to prison. Isn't that crazy?
That's all God.
Right.
He brought me right here to this moment, and He's led me the entire time. So
because your heart got to be in a program like this.
You have to be passionate about it. You have to really want to affect change. And if you don't, then you're just doing it for nothing.
Exactly. Can you imagine a parent, you know, having doubt when you're trying to work with them, and then you share your testimony and say, let me tell you what happened to me.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know we got to fix this between you two so these kids don't go through.
And I think the more you tell your story, the more it's healing.
Yes,
and it's not the stigma that's attached to it, and you're not ashamed of like all that you went through. One thing I do say is I would go back and change my incarceration for my kids. I would not change it for myself, but I would change it for them.
For the kids.
To be a better mom to them.
Because of the times and
Absolutely.
things like that. Who is eligible for this program?
Anyone that's affected by incarceration, if the caregiver reaches out and the parent is not even going to get out for a few years, we will still offer them services.
Oh, wow.
Our next step is to take it into the prison and start working. We haven't gotten that far because I'm still developing it, but we're hoping this year we'll be able to start piloting it at the prison.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed sometimes? Because, you know, people are always getting out of prison.
Yes.
And families are always in need. And when people find out that there's something out there for them, I'm talking about those who are going through, when they know something's out there for them, they're coming. Right. Is it overwhelming sometimes? And when it is, what do you do?
Sometimes, but it's like that. Then I'm like, okay, God, just give me the strength to get through this and help them the way that He would want me to.
Right.
So, Yeah, I mean, I love coming to work every day. I've been doing this for 12 years,
Right.
and like this is my passion. I'm excited to come to work every single day.
Wow, that's all right. Are you in contact with your kids?
I am.
Good,
Yes.
good,
yeah.
good.
My oldest is still not.
Right.
He's still going through some stuff, but I pray for him. My youngest, he is doing really well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Does he have an idea what he's going to be one day?
He actually wants to be a police officer, which is ironic.
Yeah. Well, you see, I mean, think about it. He wants to prevent some stuff too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and he wants to be a fair officer.
Right, absolutely.
Who better to have
Exactly.
a police
Right.
but your son, because he's thinking, hey man,
Right.
I want to be a police officer. I can be fair.
Exactly.
Mama got a job,
Right.
so others can be fair.
Exactly.
So that's a fantastic
Yeah.
thing.
I think one of the things interesting too that we work with in Project Family is looking at each individual child and how they deal with the situation. Because I mean, I look at my two kids and they handled it differently. They heard what their father was saying. One chose to buy into it, one chose not to.
Right.
So we have to look at each individual child.
And tackle that.
Yes.
Do professional counseling get involved as well?
Absolutely.
Good,
Counseling. I would love to start a support group for the kids.
Right.
So if anyone's interested, contact me. Just to really help them, give them an outlet to know other kids are going through the same thing they are.
Right. And a support group meaning people who's going through
Yes,
this stuff.
absolutely.
You know, some people are calling and say, I like that. It's like, yeah, but if you don't know, you don't.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I have that passion to really want to help the kids. Yes.
How can people learn more about Project Family?
They can go to our website, projectdreamtree.org, or just contact me at 336-724-3625, extension 1332.
That's fantastic. Tonja, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I'm just proud of you. Glad to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Just meeting somebody that just loved the Lord, because I can see you do. Doing what you can do for the Lord and not letting your past be an obstacle for someone else's future.
Absolutely.
And that's beautiful.
Thank
Love
you so much. Thank you.